Well, hello. Today is a beautiful day here in Western Pennsylvania, and it's also a day to be doing some garden work. Garden work comes and goes. You got to do it when the sun's shining. We did have some storms last night, so you can see where we got some hard rains. You can see where it's a little bit of washout occurred in the garden, but nothing too serious. But we're going to thin out some radishes today and do some weeding, and we'll see how that goes. So please join me. Look at the garden now, you see it needs a little bit of hoeing. Kale's still coming up good. The lettuce looks good. The radishes, I'm going to be gone for 4 days. Here this week, I got to go to a college graduation. Congratulations to her. We're all awfully proud of her. But before I go, I need to thin out these radishes a bit just to make sure they grow properly. As you see, they're pretty thick, not too bad. Looks like I got them laid pretty good, but they are going to require some thinning. And so let's get started. Okay, here's the start of the radishes. Now, like any other plant that grows, it needs some room to grow. So what I'm going to do, you see how these ones, some of them are just too close. They just won't get round. I'll take out the ones that are really close. And then maybe later, I'll even do a little more. Now you have to be careful. One of the good reasons about this fine soil here, another good reason is these come out. If you got like two that's growing right beside each other because of a large clump, they don't always weed out so good. Now this is coming along pretty good here. You got to get them room to grow and get big so they're nice and edible. I usually try to take the small ones and leave the biggest ones out. Now you can if you wish. Some people will actually take these in and use them in salads, and they're pretty good in salads. But I'm not going to today. You just have to be careful. It does require some patience, and you can pull out some of the little weeds that's beside it too. Now, when you're thinning them out, just think how big you want them to get, and then give them enough room to grow to reach that size. And I'm always very careful. This is a good time to do it. The soil is moist. It's not muddy. I kind of had to wait for a while because we did get a very hard rain. There were some tornadoes out in Ohio and West Virginia. I think had one. Ohio had two last night. My prayers are with them as they struggled trying to fix their homes, and hopefully nobody was hurt. I didn't hear anything about injuries. You see, they're growing pretty good. You can see the roots going down. Radishes are always the first plant you get. I mean, not a lot you can do with them except eat them, and I do enjoy them. But like I said, this is a little bit of a tedious job, but it's not too bad. You get to see exactly how your plants are doing and get rid of some of these fine weeds right beside it. Like I said, always think about how big you want them to be. I'm gonna scrape this ground off. I usually scrape it a bit. I think I'll get my tool to scrape it out. Now, radishes are one of the first things you can plant in the spring. You don't have to wait till the frost is done. And they're one of the first ones you'll harvest. And then a lot of times we'll plant something else in its place, maybe some more lettuce or kale or something like that. Radishes, when you plant them too late, I think they taste better in the spring. I really do. I think the earlier you plant them, the better you are. The earlier you can plant them, the better you are. I think they get a little bit big, and I don't know what the taste. It's just not the same. They taste a little sweeter or something in the spring when the weather's cool at night than what they do if you plant them and harvest them in the middle of summer when it's hot. And here's two growing right beside each other. You got to be real careful on these ones because I don't want to pull the other one out. Same thing here. I don't know which one I want to keep. There's actually three right beside each other. Now I'll come through and hoe this on the side, but I don't like to hoe too close to these yet. That's why I'm using this little shovel. So if you plant radishes in the summer when you and they harvest when it's real hot, I would suggest you try out planting them early and seeing if the taste is different. I believe it is, but said everybody has a plan, so use your plan and what works best for you. Huh, that's interesting. Piece of metal in here. Hanging on a fence for now. Try to remember to get it later. Down a little bit. It does seem like a little bit of a waste when you do it like this, but I don't know any other way to do it if somebody else does. Or like I said earlier when I was planting them, or an easier way to plant them when you get so you can get the distance a little bit better. I do struggle with putting too many down at one time, and if there is a good way of doing it, please let me know. I would be more than pleased to give it a try. As I've said in some of my earlier videos, I'm going to learn probably more than whoever's watching this is going to learn. Wetter right here in this area, but this is one of the low parts in the garden, so all that water that came last night, you can see where it was running through areas of the garden. This is kind of probably where it came down settled. My knees sinking in a little bit more. How this happened, but I got some radishes way down here growing. Must have been when I filled it in a little bit. I'll try to save them too. Seems like when you thin them out, you waste so many, you want to save every one you can. do believe on the package it tells you how close to thin them out to. It gives you a measurement, but like I said, I give them enough room to grow, and then I'll thin them out again, and as I thin them out again, I'll be taking small ones out and eating them and leaving more room for the other ones to grow. Not too bad. Like I said, you can't get in a hurry. You can't pull more than one or two out at the most at one time. If you get in a hurry, it's best to do it when the ground's a little bit wet like it is right now. You don't want it too wet, but if it's wet like this, it seems like it helps a little bit. It allows it to come out easier. And I think I can wind up this string and then do a little hoeing. Pretty much see where the kale is now, so I'm going to wind this one up too. Now I may have one of my first fails of the year. I don't see any of this lettuce come up. I'll give it a couple more days, but it should have been at least see something by now. Now I found out later that that was an open pack from last year, so it could have been the seeds. It could have been I put it too deep. There's lots of items that could have happened, but whatever the thing is, it doesn't look like it's going to come up. I'll give it another couple days, means I'm away for 4 days. I'll check it when I get back. So I'm going to leave the string up so I know where it's supposed to be. And if it doesn't take, you know what? I'll just plant a little more lettuce and I'll go buy a new pack, or maybe some carrots, or just plant something else down here in this end. It's not like I'm going to waste the space. It's just that it appears that those seeds didn't take. I'm going to do a little hoeing now. Now, I actually like it to be a little drier when I'm hoeing, but it's going to start drying out now. It's already close to 1 o'clock, so it's not going to dry out much more than what it is right now. But I do want to get it hoed before I leave. So I guess I'll get started. Now when I hoe, I don't go very deep. I just want to scrape off the top. And as the plants mature and get bigger and better, you don't have to do this as much. But you see, if you just scrape, it's not all that hard. And it doesn't take that much time. And as I said before, a little bit of work is good for you. Builds character. These darn vines, though, they do drive me nuts. To hoe normally when it's a little drier, because when it is drier, the roots of the weeds dry out quicker. Sometimes if they're wet, you dig them up a little bit, they'll just reassert themselves in the loose soil and start growing. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I hope this dries out this top layer enough today to at least kill the majority of these. I may have a little problem over here. I seen a hole yesterday and I filled it in. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but I have a mole or something digging holes in my garden. That usually means they're going to eat something. I guess the shade's right on it right now coming from the sun, so it's hard to see. But this is the area where I grew my snap peas. Now this may be one, that may be another one. That may be, so they may start coming up. As you see, I'm not hoeing very close to them. These are these darn weeds I was talking about. These are actually morning glories. They're very pretty, but they spread terribly. Now I do have kind of a large section to hoe out today, but that's okay. It's not all that bad hard work. Sometimes I think people make it harder than what it really is. It's just more or less just kind of a scrape. I mean, if you can't dig through it, you tilt it a little bit, you'll go like this. Maybe some of the bigger ones, said you reach down and you pull them out, or you dig a little deeper. That ground's a little bit harder because I've been walking on it. And the garden is some work, I'll be honest. It's not all fun, it's not all eating. It is a little work, but the work is what gives you the satisfaction when you're harvesting and when you're done. Plus it's free food once you get the plants and everything, the seeds. And it's healthy for you. You know exactly where it came from, what it's grown from. And it just, to me, it just makes it taste better. And I appreciate the gifts God gave me a little bit more that way. Now, home is like, it is like any type of work. If you keep up with it and do it once in a while, it's not nearly as bad. If you let it go too long, naturally it's going to be a lot harder and you're going to get frustrated. So try to keep up with it. Try to spend at least one day a week out in your garden to continue to watch it grow, weed, thin things out, and make sure everything's grown. Make sure everything's grown within the cages. So it is a nice little hobby, because it does keep you busy. You will be doing something. You could almost do something every day if you wanted to. It's your garden can be as nice as you want it, depending upon how much effort and how much time you want to put into it. This area's a little harder here. This is where I walk in, so usually where you walk is a little bit harder to hoe. That's why I angle the hoe a little bit. It goes right straight down. Then you can still dig it up. It's still easy. Now the area up above here
I don't have to weed yet because that's the area I just planted. Part 3 of the finishing planting was just done 3 days ago, so it's still in good shape. There's not any weeds coming up yet, but probably have to work it some next week. But as you see, reality, it only took me maybe somewhere between, I don't know, 15 to 25 minutes to hoe the whole garden. And if an old man can do it that quick, I'm sure a younger person could do it in probably half the time. So I did even work up a little bit of a sweat, which is good for me. I need that. But once again, I do enjoy the workouts here. It is fun. I'm learning. Like I said, I already learned that maybe we shouldn't be planting any seeds left over from last year. We'll see. When I come back, I may have to replant those. I did notice my beets are finally up. They were planted a couple weeks ago. They usually take a couple weeks to come up. I don't see any carrots yet. Hopefully they come up here soon too. Okay, now all this hoeing only took me approximately 15 minutes. It doesn't take that long. And if you spend a little bit of time in the garden every 3, 4, 5 days, it will always look nice. The more you keep on top of things, the better it is, the easier it is when you come out. Like naturally, if I let it go 2 weeks to come out and pull weeds, it looks, and it's a lot harder. So it doesn't look nearly as nice, and it is, I wouldn't even say twice as hard. It's 4 or 5 times as hard. So my advice is, spend a little time in your garden. Try to embrace life through your garden if you need to, because it can be a happy place, a place you work, but still enjoy. Keep up with it, enjoy it, live it, and you can eat it. I mean, that's fantastic. And if you like this video, please share it and like it, and even subscribe if it so moves your heart. Subscribing doesn't cost anything, so why not? That way you don't miss any videos. And so once again, this is the old man with the plan saying, see you later.